Well, it's a sensitive topic with the identity of children at stake, but an attorney arguing today that he should be allowed to file his civil lawsuits openly says it's a misuse of a protective order.
The only thing that matters in terms of confidentiality is to protect the identity of the children, not to protect wrongdoings, misfeasances, and malfeasances of DCYF and CASA and others.
Attorney Charles Capace argued before the state's highest court that details in child abuse and neglect lawsuits should not always be sealed.
As long as they preserve anonymity, there is no reason why the court file should remain secret.
Capace and his co-counsel Russ Riley plan to file a lawsuit on behalf of the adoptive parents of children who were abused by a couple DCYF had already been investigating. State law says these filings shall be kept in books and files separate from all other court records, and they are sealed by court order, and there's no parental waiver to lift it. Both the state and CASA, court-appointed special advocates, which represent children in abuse and neglect proceedings, worry that a child's identity could be at risk, even if a name is taken out.
There's more than just a name that can identify a parent or a child.
How much more? How much more?
I think there's quite a bit more. I think there's towns, there are circumstances, there's facts of the case, facts that I will not talk about today, but there are certainly facts that can be identifying of a child or a parent.
Justice James Bassett suggested a 10-day seal, something both the state and CASA were agreeable to.
So this protective order at least gives the court a chance to review the pleadings to determine whether or not the privacy interests are at stake.
Right of access is just that, a right of access, not one that's delayed, not one that there's a waiting period or one that has an expiration date. People have a right to it right away.
Attorney Capace says that he is confident that child identities would not be revealed if he is allowed to file cases openly in the first instance. The justices have yet to rule on the matter. Reporting live, Heather Hamill, WMUR News 9.